Final score at the Smisa Stadium in Paisley, Celtic 5, St Mirren 2. But in summary, aside from all that, Paddy, it's Yang's world. We're all just living in it. Your summary on last night's events.
Oh, what a day for the wee man! What a day for the young man! He's just sat there waiting in the wings. Excuse the pun. Waiting in that moment, and last night was his moment. Great headers, great goals from him. Right place, right time, and again, I would maybe just seen another player that's actually taking on board what they need to from the manager, and maybe just starting to believe in their own ability. I think that's what I'm starting to see from Yang. I still don't think he's going to be a starter, but I still think that there's something that the guy can give. And if he's scoring goals, if he's, we've seen him come in and score these goals at the end of the games, like when we're maybe 3-4-0 up. That was an important part. He came on at 2 each, and he's made his mark and then some. So very well done for the young man.
Yeah, it was a big night for Yang and myself, and it's been a long time coming. I'm kidding, but everyone knows that I've been a huge fan of Yang, and I think he's still got a way to go. But it was a huge night for him. I thought, as you say, it's 2 each. He's turned the game around. He's scored 2 and he's set 1 up. He's shown some great feet at different moments as well, and that's what he's got to do. I don't think Yang at this moment in time is in Celtic's best 11, but he's chapping the door to be more involved, and he's a guy now, as time is passing, that Brendan Rodgers looks like he can trust. And I think, Paddy, Brendan Rodgers is famed for developing players, and I think it's quite clear that he has seen something in Yang. He's shown a bit of faith, and he's brought him on. And sometimes it's not worked for Yang. He's had some poor performances in a Celtic shirt, but the manager's persisted, and who knows what's going on behind the scenes at Lennoxtown in terms of the work that he's doing. But we are now seeing the benefits of that, aren't we?
We really are. And I think when you look at the reaction, not just from yourself and the fans, it's the whole team. The whole team are rallying around him as well. So I think it's possible that it's a confidence thing with the wee guy. And I think that when you kind of look at what he's brought to the game last night, getting the 2 goals, getting the man of the match, everyone was chuffed to bits for him. And I think that you could see that in him. You can see that leading the celebrations at the end, but then afterwards you're seeing all the messages coming in from all the players wishing him a big well done after a good performance. So no, I think everyone's all in with Yang, including the manager and including the players.
Yeah, I think he seems to be a popular player in the dressing room. He's very humble. I don't know if you've seen his interview post-match. He's almost bashful, obviously not speaking in his native language, but he's quite a shy guy. And even when he went to the fans post-match, he's certainly humble. He's just a likeable character. I'm delighted for him, and we'll get to his goals and all that just shortly. There's a lot of puns doing the rounds, Paddy. Yangster's Paradise is the name of this episode. Yang Tanamera is the song that we're trying to get off the ground.
Got to be the song for him.
It's got to be. Somebody said it was great Yanger management from Brendan Rodgers to bring him in, etc., etc. But we'll get back to all of that. We'll get back to the goals later on, because there's all sorts to talk about, Paddy. It was an exciting game. Fair play to St Mirren as well. It was wide open. There was chances aplenty. You would argue St Mirren had the better chances in the first half. Celtic have gone with what I think is just about our strongest lineup, but Jota dropped out. Adam Ida was given another chance, and he's not quite taken it. He's not quite on fire at this moment in time. But your thoughts on that, Paddy, and generally how the first half played out before we get to any of the goals?
Yeah, listen, you could either say that it was a poor performance from Celtic and a really good performance from St Mirren. I'm going to go with a really good performance from St Mirren. I think that they put it to us. They've not been shy of being able to do that all season, to be honest. When you look at some of the performances against Rangers this year, they've stood up well. Robinson knows how to get his boys playing against Celtic or Rangers. And I think that, no matter what part of the season it is, every team will want to go in and try and do something against Celtic. And I think that yesterday he got the better of us in the first half. I think St Mirren deservedly got the equaliser. They were knocking on the door potentially to go and take the lead before we did, before Jeffrey Schlupp did. And I think that's testament to a team that's, all right, they're maybe sitting in a little bit, but they weren't hesitant to come out into our half, which you see a lot of the time against other teams in the league. So credit to them. makes it even sweeter when you go and get the win in these kind of games, I think. Because a team's really went for you, and you've listened to it and you've dealt with it.
Yeah, I think Celtic have shown a great mentality, and it says a lot about Celtic, who maybe weren't at their best during that first half, but you still go in at the break in the lead. You know, that's what Celtic do. They weather the storm at times, but they deal with it, and they've got the mentality to go and get the all important goals. The first goal comes from Jeffrey Slupp, his first goal for Celtic, and great to see. And he's been a really solid addition in at left back, Paddy.
He's been great. Jazzy Jeff, as you've been calling him, a big Jeff for me and the boys in the stands. I think just enjoying him getting back up to match sharpness by the looks of it, and enjoying his football. Quite coy in his future. I think he was asked during the week, and it was very much, he'd never rule anything out kind of thing. But again, it's a difficult situation if you're going to say to someone like Slupp, if you want to come to Celtic, you're going to be on the bench. If we're going to bring in Kieran Tierney, but I think what a versatile player to have around. I think it would be worth it.
Yeah, I think he's been a great addition, and he just offers a lot, both defensively and in an attacking sense. And I think he's perfect for the way Brendan Rodgers wants to play. And I think if we can make a deal work, and I think he gets paid big money. I think he gets 60k at the moment at Palace, so that's something to be juggled with. But if Celtic can find a deal that works for him, I think he'd be a really solid addition. Even at 32, he looks like a fit, strong guy, doesn't he? He doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. Just before he gets the goal, Liam Scales comes in, channeling his inner Paolo Maldini with that headband after a head knock to Trusty. And at that point in the game, Paddy, there have been a number of chances for St Mirren, even before the change. Are you concerned at all about the gaps that seem to be appearing a wee bit? It's not a huge pattern, but Celtic were picking up lots of clean sheets domestically. A wee bit less so over the last few games. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just think it's, again, we look at the challenges we've had lately. We look at the big performances against Munich. We're now kind of looking at the next cup game coming up in a week's time against Hibs. I think there's just an element of, maybe the complacency is potentially setting in a little bit, but also a lot of these players will also be thinking about the running in terms of the Scottish Cup and going trying to get the treble. The league's done. I think they know that. I think they know that even if there was a little bit of a panic, a little bit of a worry, they'd still be able to turn it on and come up to the right standard. What I would say is that it's still, it's March now, so we've still got a bit of time left. I don't think we should be taking the foot off the gas. I think we should be keeping it going. But as footballers, it must be the level of, it's hard to get motivated in a sense. And I do think that remaining Switzerland for 90 minutes is potentially out the window a little bit. Hence the reason we're going to see maybe some goals here or there against us. I think we've seen it in Angie's last season, although there was a lot of talk saying that was because he decided to go to Spurs. But I actually just think that the job was done. No one was catching us. We're waiting for the semi-final and the cup final, and yeah, that's where this went.
Yeah, and I think, ideally you would still be keeping clean sheets and not conceding a couple of goals a game. But it was exciting to watch. It was a good night's entertainment, and you can always say that when you come out on the right side of the result. But I just thought it was a good night of football. And there'll be folk, I've seen folk kind of moaning about, conceding the goals. So be it. It's part of football. We're winning games. We're scoring plenty of goals, and I think there's lots to enjoy there. So it's Schlupp that opens the scoring, and it's a very, decent goal. Gets the ball left-hand side of the box, makes his way in, cracks it in. I think it's maybe even getting off the post. It's a really decent strike. So that's Celtic's left back getting his first goal for the club. St Mirren's left back doing the same. It's Declan John, former Rangers player, I think. Yeah. Gets a free kick in a really decent area just on the edge of the box. I think it was Scales that brought the fella down. And you have to say, there's nothing, we talk about Celtic conceding goals. There's nothing any goalkeeper can do to save that. It's a really good finish from the free kick. It's
the one place in the goal that you just can't get to, I'm afraid. I think it's an incredible free kick, good pace on it, and pinpoint where he wanted to put it. So, no, you take your hat off to that. It's a good finish.
Yeah, really good. At that point, it's kind of going back and forward a wee bit. St Mirren continue to carve out a couple of chances. But actually, it's a really naive tackle in the box that leads to a deserved penalty for Celtic. Dyson Maeda, too honest. He the guy wipes him out and he's trying to get back up. It's like, just relax, Dyson. Your work here is done. and we'll take the PK. And it's Arnie Engels, and I know he's had one that he's missed, but you can generally trust him to put it away from 12 yards, can't you?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's quite comfortable in that situation, and I think definite penalty. Like as you say, I don't know what mind I was thinking. He's trying to get up and get the ball, and then went down again, realising actually he just hit me there, so I better make sure I get the penalty for us. But it's a cool, calm, collected penalty from Arnold. I expect nothing less for the big man.
Yeah, absolutely. He's very composed in these situations, and I'll not spend much time on him today. Did another very decent game, but he just looks more and more comfortable every time he takes to the field in a Celtic shirt. He's very much a key part of that midfield engine now.
He really is, and I think you and I were kind of touching on this a little bit last night. There's an element of, will Celtic kind of change up their tactics against Rangers in terms of maybe giving Callum McGregor a little bit of support, the way they kind of done in Munich. I think Arnie Engels is the boy for that. The box-to-box midfielder covering his defensive mid, and I think that he's shaping up hopefully to have that big game against them, because that's going to be an important role to protect Callum McGregor, because that's all they've got. Pin all their midfielders on one player, and then just try and pack out the lines, which they've done to a success at Ibrox in January. But I think Brendan Rodgers won't have that at Celtic Park in 2 weeks' time.
I think we've spoken about this specifically, that Arnie Engels is just warming up nicely for a grandstand performance against Rangers. It's one of the things at the moment that's missing from his Celtic CV, just a real standout statement performance in that kind of fixture. I think it's looking good for him to hit the ground running on the 16th of March and give us that performance and potentially a goal or two as well. There's a comment here, very relevant comment from Jason, and thanks to everyone who's continuing to comment on the live shows that we do. Jason's saying that Rio Hatate gets stronger as the game went on, and I think that's exactly what happened. He was having his moments, as he can do, but he showed some great feet at different times in that second half, and he kind of does that. He comes to life at times as the game goes on. He actually looks like he's done. He looks like his race is run. And then he seems to find another gear, and at times St Mirren couldn't deal with him.
No, exactly. I think that's why it's quite a difficult one to take Rio Hatate off the park sometimes. He's got something about him that just, I don't know, something clicks into place. I wonder if a pass is successful, that he starts to feel, well, hang on a minute, I'm back in this year after maybe a 2 or 3 misplaced passes. He seems to brush himself down pretty quickly though, for any mistakes that he makes. And there is mistakes, 100%, but we've always spoke about how important it is to have someone like Rio Hatate who will try the killer pass, who will try that quick pass that releases into an attack. Won't always come off, absolutely, but when it does, 9 times out of 10 it's a guaranteed goal.
Yeah, he's just got that creative spark that you need, and he's a risk taker, and I think that's part of the reason Brendan Rodgers plays him. Callum McGregor's more your kind of safe player, your steady Eddie, and I think you need the guy that will take those chances, and Rio Hatate and Arnie Engels. Actually, Engels is always trying to find that through ball, and I think that's a huge reason why they're at the top of Brendan Rodgers' midfield. At half-time, as we say, Paddy, 2-1 to Celtic, but it's not long before it's 2 each. We've been singing the praises of Jeffrey Schlupp, and rightly so generally, but I thought he was far too cheap in letting the crossover from the right-hand side, and Celtic half clear it, and it falls to, I think it's Phillips on the edge of the box. He's probably been fortunate with the volley into the ground in the way that it's caught the turf and spun over Kasper Schmeichel, but again, you'd probably say it was deserved from a St Mirren point of view at that point in the game. And as I say, you can't do much about the free kick, the first goal, but you'd want to be defending that one a wee bit better.
You would. I think I agree with you. You just need to get out there closer. I don't think, sometimes you see that with players when they've just come out for the second half. Are they switched on enough? Are they involved in the game the way they should be? And it just looked like he was possibly still coming out the changing room, to be honest. And I think he needs to get closer. He needs to put pressure on the cross. And listen, I agree with you. I think St Mirren deserved to get the equaliser. I think they were well involved in the game. Just such a crappy goal to lose, though. It really was, just the way it spun in. We need to be tighter. We need to be tighter to prevent that cross. I would agree.
Yeah, so it's frustrating. You're 2 each and the game's very much on at that point. The goal was just after the break, 48 minutes. Celtic then make their changes, as they often do, around about the hour mark. 3 guys come on: Luke McCowan, Jota and Yang. Nicholas Kuhn, he's not off it. That's not quite the right wording, but he's not as sparkling as he was earlier on in the season. He steps out. Adam Ida, it's not really happening for him just now. And Callum McGregor, who's rarely taken off for Celtic, to be honest with you. But as I say, those 3 guys make way around about 65 minutes in. We're absolutely going to get to Yang Watch. That's going to be a big focus. The hotly disputed Yang Watch section of the show. But Luke McCowan's also played a part when he's come on, Paddy.
He has. He was about everywhere, to be honest. And I thought that very unlucky we shot off the post as well. I thought he looked lively and gave a bit of a further press in terms of what we were trying to do. Interesting to see that it was almost like revolving roles between Hatate, Engels and McCowan, just covering that position that Carmack left. But we looked a lot more dynamic going forward. I take nothing away from the captain and what he does, but I think that we wanted to ramp up the pressure a bit and pin them in. So when you look at it, you've effectively got 3 attacking kind of midfielders on the park, attacking minded anyway, and they really did. They created that more of a block for St Mirren and made it difficult for them to really come out, and the goals were coming.
Yeah, and they absolutely did come. So good comment here from Brown Warrior. He says he felt McCowan was way more positive when he came on, and he was passing with a purpose. It's generally a forward pass he plays for his front men to run onto. And I think that's very valid. Luke McCowan's in the same boat as Yang, same boat as Ida. They know when they do get their opportunities, whether it's from the start or off the bench, they need to make an impact. And for a guy like Luke McCowan, it's goals and assists. That's the thing that will help him stand out. And he's chipped in with his fair share of them. You could see his disappointment at hitting the post. It's a great strike from outside the box, and it's caught the upright, and he'll be frustrated at that. But the manager can see the good work that he's doing, and I think he's finding his feet as a Celtic player. He's had some really good performances, a couple of quieter ones, and again he'll be looking to make sure that he's not just a guy who's around if Hatate or Engels, for example, have an off day. He wants to be banging that door down and saying that he's due a start. And I think that's all he can do in terms of, get those assists and get those goals when the opportunity presents itself. Paddy, we will do Yang Watch now, and we're right to do so. He's a figure who's, I wouldn't even say he's divided opinion in his time at Celtic. Most folks had made their mind up on him, and this isn't the I told you so section, far from it. I'm just really pleased for him. I think he's a really talented guy, and as I say, a very humble guy. But he has, and we have seen a real upturn in form from him. He showed it against Bayern Munich at home, which was a big test for him. He'd scored the week prior against, I think it was Wraith Rovers, and folks were coming at me saying, well, that's his level, he's found his level. And then he does it against Bayern Munich, and then he continues to do it over the next few games, and he's done it again last night. He has turned the game around. He's come on at 2-2. He's got his 2 goals and his assist, but he's, I think, Paddy, he's had to show quite a strong mentality, because I know English isn't his first language, but he's aware of the negativity that might have surrounded him at times. And now, slowly but surely, he's turned that around. And real credit to the manager, but most of the credit has to go to the player there.
Without a doubt, I think anyone in that position, we've seen it before. It's a very difficult place to try and get, your head focused in the right place and come back from negativity, come back from comments that are made about you. I think we've seen players like Mikey Johnston, I think, is a great example in terms of the jersey can be too heavy. I really do think that's a big part of Celtic. Whereas I think for Yang, there's almost a little bit of a who cares attitude in a sense. Like, I'm just going to give everything I can and I'll see what happens. I might not be up to the level. I remember, I think the game against Aston Villa was the one for me where I really thought he's not got it. He's not got it at the next level. But it's just really not stopped the guy from trying. Every time he's been given an opportunity since, he's kept going, he's kept pushing. And he deserves it all. All the plaudits from yesterday. He deserves man of the match, absolutely. Will it still be up and down in terms of his morale, in terms of how he plays in games? I think it will. I do. But we remember a little spell that he had last season, up to the Hearts game where he was wrongly sent off.
Yeah.
we started to see maybe a bit of a player within that section of games. And I think that if you can get Yang up to a level where he comes on and consistently contributes to the game, I'm fine with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. But there's just been too many games where he's come on and he's done nothing. He's been a man down. But that yesterday is absolutely brilliant. That's what you want from him. And hopefully, I think he is a confidence player. I think he kicks on for there. Hopefully, we see a little bit more from him in the coming weeks. But he'll be feeling great. And interesting to see Roger's comments about the girlfriend being flew over. Maybe she needs a bit more of a permanent stay in Glasgow.
Yeah, maybe so. He's obviously quite happy in life at this moment in time, and he's a young lad. He's 22 years of age in a foreign land. You know, it's a long way from Glasgow to South Korea, and fair play to him for adjusting in the way he has done. Confidence is the key for Yang, because, in fact, it's a big thing for wingers in general. You know, that's how that position works. Because every time a winger gets the ball, fans expect something to happen, and they expect that you go and take on the fullback and get to the byline and whip in crosses or get efforts on goal. And if he can find that consistency, then that will be the key. The confidence will be there. He'll be feeling good about himself right now today, and the manager will continue to support him and big him up, and his teammates seem right behind him. But he's got to go and do it next time out. He's got to turn up next week and the week after and cup quarterfinals and everything else, and show that he's a guy that when you bring him off the bench, you can almost guarantee that something will happen. Up until fairly recently, it's been a bit too, who knows what you'll get with Yang, but now he's started to show something. I think it's Jason Lee in the comments who says now every time Yang comes on, you're expecting, and that's a great position for him to be in. His first goal, Paddy, it's a header, both headers, and that's fairly rare for wingers. It's not something you associate. Wingers generally are quite diminutive and all that kind of stuff, but he's actually got a really good technique. He's a really decent header of the ball. And the first one is good work by Rio Hatai. We've spoken about the creativity he brought to the latter parts of the game, and he's got it in his right-hand side, and he's whipped in a ball to a really dangerous area at the back post. Yang's found the space, and there's still work to be done, but he's powered it by the goalkeeper, and it's a really decent finish to get us on our way.
Absolutely, because the cross in, good pace on it, but you still have to make sure that you take that pace and put a bit more on it to try and beat the keeper. Especially for even the corner that he picked in terms of putting it into the top left. Like, still got that direction, you've still got that pace that you have to try and put behind it as well. I thought it was a very good header. It looked technically good, and again, we would say the same with his second as well. It didn't look unnatural for him to put them away like that. So a nice thing to notice with Yang, if he's got that heading ability. That always, you know, we look at majority of Celtic's play as balls that are cut back from the byline. On the deck, hope for someone to run onto them. It's good to have that little bit of mix and see if we can put the ball in the air and see if we can get on to the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take a short pause on Yang Watch, because somewhere around about that time in the game, probably to each actually, there is what I think is a penalty to St Mirren.
Yeah.
When you see at the time, it's a solid challenge by Alistair Johnson. He does get the ball first, but he comes right down on the guy's ankle and absolutely falls into the category I've seen them given. You know, I think it is a penalty. I was puzzled that it wasn't given, I've got to be honest. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it is as well. I think it's a bit rash from Johnson. Almost looks a little bit last ditch from him, and normally he's a little bit more in control, but we have seen those little moments at the last gasp. Not even in dangerous positions that a shot would come in, Tino. It's more just trying to protect the cross. He has been a little bit rash in those moments. But yeah, I think it's one they've got wrong. Am I going to complain? No, I'm not. When you look at what happened at Easter Road last week and the goal that we didn't get, these things even themselves out, as they say, Tino.
Well, they've been telling us for years they balance out over the course of a season, so we'll take them when they come along. But I do think Celtic have got away with one. I think it was to each in the game, quite sure it was, and that could have been pivotal, but we get away with it and we crack on. And as we say, Yang gets the goal for 3-2, and the game does continue to ebb and flow a wee bit, you know, beyond that 68 minutes for Yang's first goal. And it's not till the 88th minute where Dyson Maeda wraps it up. It's a class finish by Maeda, and it's what we've come to expect. You know, in early days, Dyson Maeda, when he's through on goal like that, toss the coin. You just don't know what's going to happen. Back of the net, top of the stand.
I would disagree with you on that.
You think he's always been that
I
consistent?
think he's one-on-ones. He's one of the best players at the club, honestly. But before Kyogo won that.
Yeah, really?
Aye.
Okay.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah. So he's tucked away nicely, and again, real credit to Yang. It's a brilliant first-time pass from out on that right-hand side, and he does seem to be comfortable coming in off the right. That seems to be his favoured position, and that's where the manager seems to be deploying him. But he's a division to play it through to Maeda. Now, Yang will get the assist, of course he will, but there's still a lot of work for Daiz Maeda to do at that point, and the turn inside the defender was the key to the whole thing. That opens it out, and it's as cool a finish as you like. And what I think we're also seeing from Daiz Maeda is more emotion. When he scored the goal, he was buzzing. You could see he scored goals in the past for Celtic, and he's ran away like nothing's happened. He's ran back to halfway line, get the ball, and it's done. He's in a brilliant place in his Celtic career. He's adored by the fans, and it seems very much like a two-way street.
Oh, 100%. I think that he's on this run just now. He's scoring freely every week for us at the moment. We had the debate: would it be wrong to bring him off the wing and into the middle? I can't believe we've not done it sooner. I genuinely can't. The way I'm watching it, and it's just incredible just what he's given us through the middle. My love for Kyogo will never die out. But I'm also thinking that those games where we maybe needed to rescue Kyogo, that's where Daiz Maeda should have been coming in a lot more, in my opinion. He's a striker. And simple as that. And he's going to get his goals. And I think if he continues this way, he's going to be our main striker next year.
He's an international World Cup scoring striker. And I've got to be honest with you, it's taken a wee bit to convince me, but not anymore. The proof is all there. He's on fire. Is it 26 goals now for the season?
26. He's
going to smash through that 30-goal barrier, absolutely. And yes, Yang's making a late play for Player of the Year, Paddy, but it's going to take something really unique for Maeda not to take it. Nicholas Kuhn was in the driving seat. He was the main man. But Daiz Maeda's consistency over this middle and now this kind of final third of the season, he's been exceptional, hasn't he?
He has, and I'm looking at Paul Andrews' comment there in terms of Maeda will hit 35 at least. I'm agreeing with that. I think he's just having a great season. I think he's just feeling comfortable about himself. As you say, the two-way street there with the fans is clear to see. He gives everything in the jersey, and I think it's just a matter of making sure that we keep him this summer. I think there'll be plenty of teams in and around for Daiz Maeda. But the thing I think we have on our side is that I do think he loves it here. I do think he's really enjoying his football here, and I'm hopeful that we get maybe another season out of him at least.
I'd really hope so. And he does seem very happy, and who knows, he'll have offers. There'll be offers on the table for a guy like that. I mean, in addition to his quality finishing, that energy and that high press and that work rate, such an asset for any side. And we're lucky to have him just now, and it's maybe a case of make the most of Maeda while we've got him. He's a very unique footballer, and it's just brilliant to have him here at Celtic. A couple of comments on that note. Quarterback Punk says Jota on the wing, Daiz through the middle, absolutely perfect. And there was something else. Let me see. Yeah, we've spoke about what Brendan Rodgers has done for Yang. He's maybe continuing to improve Maeda. Jason Lee says that Brendan's done wonders in improving Maeda's touch. So that, I mean, the game is done and dusted at that point, Paddy. 88 minutes, 4-2. But Yang's not finished yet. And again, it's another header. Jeffrey Schlupp, we've spoken about his impact. Gets the byline. Some good work on the left-hand side to get the byline. Yeah. He's whipped it across into a very good area. And Yang's done what he's done for his first goal. He's just found himself in space. He's come off the shoulder of the fullback. And he's downward header, textbook downward header, into an empty net. And you and I are cracking open the finest South Korean champagne the South Side can offer.
It was spectacular. I've never seen someone so buoyant and so happy after a day of rinsing the bookies with a Motherwell victory, and then getting to see your main man just going and running the show against St Mirren. It was a good end to the game, and set up what was a good night. You can hear it in our voices, I think.
Yeah, all down to Yang. A couple of good comments coming in. Craig Young says he's changing his name to Craig Yang, and we're here for that. John Connor says that Yang's form's been great recently. Lots of podcasters feeling rather uncomfortable right now about after closing the book on him. Great for Celtic. Hope he kicks on. I don't know who that is. I'm not sure what others' opinion have been on Yang, but whether it's podcasters
It's been me.
it's been you, whether it's
been me.
podcasters or fans or anyone else, everyone's entitled to their shout. But I'm glad that he's turned around. I think ultimately Celtic fans, rightly, will critique players, good, bad, or indifferent. But we all want to see guys do well. And I think everyone will be delighted for Yang in terms of what he's done. One guy, Paddy, who I don't think is so delighted is your pal, Dave Mitchell, who says, big thanks to Paddy for the 2:20 a.m. wake-up call. You woke the Wayne. So Dave's delighted with that. Do you want to apologise at this moment in time? Or are you doubling down?
Not.
Absolutely not. So, great night all round, Paddy. Big night for Celtic. And what it now means is that we're 3 wins from the title. Obviously, we've got Rangers coming up on the 16th of March. And if we get the next 3 wins, including that one, you're good to go for a 4th successive title. And it's absolutely deserved. We've been the dominant team in the country. We've had some ups and downs, a couple of challenging moments. But by and large, the consistency's been there. The exciting football's been there. The goals have been there. And we'll deserve this title whenever it lands.
100%. I think as a Celtic fan, and I've watched some great teams over the years, Tino, and as I say, of my generation, I think I'm very spoiled to see what I've seen in terms of the trophies that we've won under O'Neill and then all the way up to Brendan Rodgers. This might be one of the most exciting teams I've seen. I think generally some of the football we've played this season has been frightening, and we've still got Jota to get up to full fitness. We've still got Yotto. We've still got Kieran Tierney to come in the summer. Potentially another striker as well. I can't wait for next season already. I really can't. I think we've been spoiled this year. That's 10 goals in 2 games again, Tino. We're firing them in this season. We must be on course to break a record there with the amount of goals scored. Must be.
Yeah, I'll try and check some of those stats for the weekly show that will be getting recorded tomorrow, but it's certainly the 9th time this season we've scored 5 or more goals in a game, and that in itself's incredible, and there's lots of other stats into the bargain. Before I forget, Paddy, I recorded a really interesting episode with David Lowe just a couple of days ago. Most folk will know David Lowe as Fergus's right-hand man, Fergus McCann's right-hand man during the 1994 takeover. And Dave and I had a pretty interesting, pretty varied chat about a number of things. He's a financial analyst, that's his world. We spoke about Celtic's recent financial figures. We spoke about American takeovers and what that might look like for both sides of the city, and a few other things in between. So that'll be going live tonight, time TBC, but around about 7 or 8 o'clock, that'll be live and available across our channels here on YouTube and in the various podcast places. But in the meantime, Paddy, brilliant Saturday night at the office, compounding a pretty decent result for Motherwell on the other side of the city earlier on in the day. But your final thoughts as we wrap this one up for a Sunday afternoon?
I just want to keep it going. I think now we're going into a spell where we've got some, we've got some midweek breaks from our games. That's only going to help Celtic. I think we'll be relentless in this run-in. There will be complacency, as I say. I think there'll be moments we're going to lose goals. I just think that's natural. We can't always help it. But for me, just get the head down, get the league wrapped up as soon as, get ready for a big performance in the 16th, because I don't think any of those players will be happy with the fact of what happened at Ibrox at the beginning of January. So they want to put the rights to the wrongs there, and then just kick on. And obviously, big cup game against Hibs next week. Just keep it going, and see where we end up this season. But definitely, we need to be looking at that treble.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, there's lots to be excited about. You're right to be excited about next season and what that'll bring, KT and otherwise, but there's still plenty to get excited about this year. There's 9 league games remaining. As we say, it could be done and dusted after 3 of them. And all going well, there's 3 Scottish Cup games remaining. We've got the quarter-final on this time next week, Sunday, 3 o'clock kickoff against Hibs. And then we've got those few league games that could kind of kick us on to what would that be, Paddy, a 9th treble? It is mad that you lose count of the trebles. And Celtic are obviously 119 trophies in their history. Could it be 120, then 121, and maybe even a genuine 55th title, Paddy? Lots going on, lots to be excited about. Thanks for joining us here on a Sunday. Thanks for your company last night. Class night all round. And thanks to everyone who continues to join us here on the live chat and to support us here on the Celtic Exchange. We'll be back, as mentioned, tomorrow, Monday, with the weekly show. And remember, it comes out on a Monday to subscribers. So whether you're subscribed here on YouTube or to the podcast, there's links to do so in the show notes. So if you are subscribed, you'll get that on Monday. If not, it's Tuesday morning for general release. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a good one. We'll see you all again really soon.